And I really love copywriting. And I actually liked the idea that you can play with copywriting as a game, that you can write a good copy and you can persuade someone.
With LinkedIn, I can literally talk from my personal experience that getting traction takes a lot of time. So and I have faced this problem many times, and I have wanted to also quit at some point as well.
LinkedIn stands on building connection. LinkedIn, like even the name says link. So if you wanna grow quickly, you have to build connections, and I wasn't doing that at all.
We actually recognized that ChatGPT was just creating content, like the comments that were being created, they were quite generic, right? So we actually also introduced the concept of persona.
I already mentioned that the main thing in AI is prompting, and GPT also wants a prompt one.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of GenieTalks show. My name is Bilal Asif, and I'm your host for this episode today. These days, people, almost everyone uses AI to take help to create their social media content. You get an inspiration for your tweet or LinkedIn post. You chat, you feed that idea to ChatGPT, and then it creates the content for you. The problem is that ChatGPT is able to create the content according to your instructions, but it lacks personalization and it does not actually replicates your writing style. Turns out that there is a solution for that. You can actually train AI to create content in your unique writing style. And this is the problem that we are going to be discussing in this episode today. And our guest is Sami Sharaf, who has successfully solved this problem for himself. A little bit background about Sami is that he stepped into this his professional career as a marketer and ultimately chose to become a very successful copywriter. He is very savvy with words, but has actually found a very unique and personalized way to utilize AI for his craft. I've been following him on LinkedIn, and I really love his content. I endorse his idea of writing smarter and not harder. Sami, welcome to the show. How are you feeling today?
Thank you so much, Asif. Thanks for having me, and it's an honor to be here.
Thank you, thank you. So, Sami, I've been following your LinkedIn content for a while now, right? So you chose a very nice niche, that is copywriting. So first of all, I would like to ask you that how did the transition from being a marketeer to becoming a copywriter took place? Were you always drawn toward this field, or did it evolve over time?
So the story starts from a time when I was doing e-commerce. So I started doing marketing for e-commerce brands, especially digital marketing. And then I started my own e-commerce brand and run that for 2 years. It was back home in Afghanistan in 2019. So for 2 years, I tried to develop my brand, and it was working well. And I was taking care of almost everything in marketing, especially in digital marketing. And I was focusing more on Facebook and Instagram. I was writing, I was designing, everything. I wasn't very sure of the importance of the copywriting, but of course I was writing words and I was designing. So in 2021, I came to Canada. I still wasn't sure about copywriting, but I was seeing, stuff like advertisement and those kind of things. I still couldn't get the idea that copywriting is a big niche. For example, ghostwriting, people are writing stuff, for huge profits. So I was in school, and as LinkedIn was one of the requirements, as a professional requirement to have uh, in order to graduate, like I will say. And then I set up my LinkedIn account, and just for the purpose of the assignment and a photo, headline, banner, everything, it was done. And then I was sometimes I would open LinkedIn, I would scroll through content, and I would see some cool content, about copywriting, people talking about AI, about design, different kind of stuff, and it got me interested. I was commenting, I was engaging with content for some months until I started writing about my own experience, especially social media marketing, digital marketing, anything that I knew. In that time, in the transition, I was getting the idea of copywriting more and more, and it was going deep down to my heart that copywriting is something that you can develop, writing words. You can develop writing words that get attention, that persuade people, that can change the perspective. And I really love copywriting. And I actually liked the idea that you can play with copywriting as a game, that you can write a good copy and you can persuade someone to make them do something, which is very interesting to me. And that was one of my passions as well, as a someone coming from a digital marketing background. I just loved, to market with words. So I was um, on LinkedIn and I was writing about stuff, and I just loved it.
So why don't other platforms, like why copywriting specifically for LinkedIn? And has this been any, has this given you any financial benefit or lucratively beneficial career option for others to choose? Would you recommend that?
That's a good question. I wasn't thinking of any financial benefit. I was having my own job. Of course, I wanted to leave the job and start a business, but I didn't. I wasn't thinking of LinkedIn, as a more a financial side of benefit, But I just liked LinkedIn because it was a text-heavy platform at that time, beside Twitter. So like text or, for example, writing could do very well on LinkedIn, and like compared to other platforms which are video heavy, like TikTok, like Instagram or YouTube. So that was one of the reasons that I came to LinkedIn.
Understood. And then I think it becomes a little easier for you to start with, because with video and involves some sort of editing and graphic design. These skills are required. But with writing, you can just go ahead and start with writing on a notepad and get the thing out there very very quickly. So I understand that. So with LinkedIn, I can literally talk from my personal experience that getting traction takes a lot of time. So and I have faced this problem many times, and I have wanted to also quit at some point as well. So what were your challenges when you were creating your personal brand on LinkedIn?
Um, it's almost every single creator's experience, when they start, they will see low traction, and it's normal. It will happen. It will be very very less uh, for someone. Like it will be very rare for someone to just start and just go viral. It's happened for some people, but very less people. And generally talking, it's hard, to grow in any platform because you have to like build a basis. You have to build a trust. You have to build like a perception of your brand, of your presence, of what you talk about, what your values are. And it happened with me as well. Of course, I wanted to go viral as every other person wanted to. I was thinking that going viral something, I mean, the only benefit, but that wasn't the solution as well. For some people, going viral might be a benefit. For others, getting the right clients can be a benefit, not going viral. So it depends on goal to goal. But I tried to like get more traction, get more views, because I wasn't doing business. I wasn't like focusing on clients in my initial time. I was just focusing on getting more eyeballs, just to make myself known to other people, as a brand.
Got it. So, what LinkedIn strategy you applied that helped you to go viral ultimately? So, can you share the timeline and what exactly you did that you took off?
Uh, this may be like the main challenge for me, like this question, the idea in this question, like so whatever I found was one of the things that I needed but I didn't know. For example, building connections. LinkedIn stands on building connection, like LinkedIn, like even the name says link. So if you want to grow quickly, you have to like build connections, and I wasn't doing that at all in my initial time. So my main focus for the first 6 months, I'll say, or 7 months, I was just sharing content, creating content, and that was the only way. I was just getting comments, and I was getting DMs from other people, but I wasn't focusing more on DMs. For example, I came from a uh, Facebook or Instagram marketing, where if someone comments you, you don't focus so much on a comment or a DM on those platforms. Your main goal is to get more, visibility on through your content. So that's sales. That's where sales comes from. But on LinkedIn, majority of the profit or the business comes from DMs. Most of the profit. If you don't have like good connection with people, if you don't have good um, DM strategy and and the knowledge of how to connect through DMs, it will be very very hard for you to grow. And so it was a time until I found I was reading about this stuff on LinkedIn, but I wasn't paying much attention. But then when I was getting traction, and then when I was getting DMs, and I would reply back, and I would see some traction, increase in my traction. So every time when I would go back and reply to a DM, I would see an increase in my engagement, in my visibility, which gave me the idea that I have to find more people to DM, to connect with through messages, and that might give me more visibility, which actually happened. So yeah, I'll say DMs are one of the main things that gives you more visibility and success on LinkedIn. And of course, comments, not as much, but comments are one of the things to give you like a high visibility. And then comes content, and that's I'll say the main thing that you have to focus on. Like, you have to know what you are doing. If you are writing, you have to know what you are writing, how you are writing, how writing works. If you are designing, you have to know how designing works. So anything that you are creating, any kind of content that you are creating, you have to know how the things are engineered, how to engineer it in a way that convinces people or that makes people attracted, and should be unique. So if you focus on these three things, I think you're quite well.
So basically, the roadmap is to build real connections on LinkedIn, right? Not just post and get disappeared. You have to actually post and then respond to people who are actually getting inspired from your content, right? And again, and that happens through by engaging with posts, other people on their post, by commenting and by responding to the DMs that you're getting, and also maybe messaging other people. So I get that. So along the way, would you say that you took help from AI as well to build your content?
Yeah, I will say AI was one of the main indicators of my success on LinkedIn. Not in a way that some people use it and messes everything up, but
Hmm.
I was so picky about using AI. I was testing AI a lot, and throughout my journey, even in my initial time when I was sharing content, my insights, I also was also focusing on AI, which was a trending topic. So any content which had AI was kind of getting more attention, because AI was new and people wanted to hear about AI and how to do stuff with AI, especially writing content. So I adopted AI to an extent, and I was using AI for writing, and I was testing a lot through ChatGPT, Copilot, Claude, like different platforms. And AI, of course, helped me throughout my journey.
Right. So I've also used with as much Chat GPT I could for my content as well. But the thing is that and I think it's not just my struggle. I think it's a struggle with everyone that AI can create the content by feeding the instructions that you give it, but it cannot replicate your writing style, right? And I think you are someone who has solved this for yourself, and I would really appreciate if you can share your tips for that.
Um, so I will give you like a very interesting analogy. Uh, so imagine, so AI is for example, AI. Imagine AI as a boy, and you have a very big warehouse where you have all the products. For example, you have shoes, you have clothes, you have hats, you have laptops, you have mouses, you have like water bottles, like everything is inside that warehouse. And you have a boy here, like the only way that you can access that warehouse is to tell that boy to go and bring me that thing. But the boy is very like kind of sensitive in terms of listening to you and getting your command. So if you tell the boy to go bring me a black Nike hat, like it will be easier for him to go and choose choose it. But if you tell the boy to go and bring me a hat, so the boy may bring you, like, for example, a hat which you may not the color of, or for example you may not like a size of the hat, or for example you may not like the brand of that hat. So like, AI kind of works the same. AI has, for example, ChatGPT has access to a lot of information on the internet, a lot of information. So um, how are you going to make ChatGPT go into the internet and bring those information and answer your question? By prompting clear and specific. Like, there are like a lot of things in a clear and specific prompts that you have to like take care of. But the main idea comes with prompting clear and specific and kind of obvious to AI, or I'll say to that boy, so that he can go and to the warehouse and bring a product which is more preferable to your own desire. So I'll say the main thing is prompting. Yeah, people use it in many ways. Like, people use it wrong. I don't agree with that. I use AI, but I also get tired of fluffy content on the internet, which I don't agree with, and I think it's wrong. It's not right, because at the end of the day, everyone comes to enjoy, on the internet, and take something beneficial from the internet. So if everyone is using AI for everything, content on the internet, so then there's not going to be anything valuable on the internet. So the main ways that we can use AI is for brainstorming, ideation, drafting. Sometimes ideas don't come to our mind, so we just try to like get some idea. We can research, we can find like different kind of stats that we can use in our content, and that's all how AI can help like very efficiently.
Right. And did you ever use custom GPTs for getting the content according to your, because that becomes quite easier in that sense. So did you ever get a chance to create a custom GPT?
I did, yeah. My the main reason for the custom GPT was my burnout. Like, I burned out so many times, and then because I didn't have much time, I was managing my full-time job, like commenting, like creating content and everything. It was taking a lot of time, ideation, research, and I need something, that could help me to write something in my preference, the way I write or the way I want to write. So I created a custom GPT, which helped me a lot throughout my journey, and it's like helping a lot of people right now.
Mhm. So basically, I think that our startup ConnectGenie AI, right? We help with personalized connection request notes and viral LinkedIn posts and commenting things. We actually recognized that ChatGPT was just creating content, like the comments that were being created, they were quite generic, right? So we actually also introduced the concept of persona. So what persona feature is that user is able to define their persona. They can actually by defining their persona, they can talk about how they write, how they actually write, so that ConnectGenie can actually replicate their writing style, right? So since you have defined your custom GPT and now it helps you a lot, I think eases your situation in terms of copywriting. What advice can you give us to our users and to anyone who wanted to define a persona in ConnectGenie, or maybe just want to create their own custom GPT? Like, what would be some tips for that?
Um, so as I already mentioned, that the main thing in AI is prompting, and
Hmm.
custom GPT also wants a prompt from you. Like, it's a product, of course, it's the easiest product. For example, the easiest AI product that someone can build and almost anyone can access, just like for $20. But the main thing is prompting. So, for example, I almost like spent more than a month, like weeks, like many weeks, to make it like fully prepared to work, like very well. Like, I was working with it, I was testing it every day. I was adding, I was removing stuff, I was adding into the prompt, into the back end, and it takes a long time. For someone, maybe someone can build it in one day. But if you can build it in a way that can work well, for your own desire, like, it's perfect. And the main thing that comes is prompting again. It's prompting. You have to focus more on prompting. You have to provide examples. For example, for my custom GPT, I provided a lot of examples from different writings, and that's how I made it write like in ways that is simple, that is understandable, that is more catchy. AI uses a lot of slangs, a lot of jargon, a lot of words that we don't use in everyday language. And copywriting is more about using words which are like commonly used, by everyone, which is understandable and easy on our mouths, on how we speak. So the main thing is prompting AI to write in a language which is more readable, that can be providing examples, that can be telling AI to use what kind of words, for example, 2-syllable words, for example, 3-syllable words, or let's say words which are just one word, avoid like two-word phrases or long phrases or classes or this kind of problematic language. So that's how one should be more focused.
Right. So I think that building a persona or a custom GPT, it is like crafting a character in a story. It takes creativity and intention, and as you mentioned that it takes multiple iterations to build the right custom GPT or the build the right persona. So and obviously at the end of the day, every copywriter is writing by keeping a specific audience in mind. So how does the element of audience comes into play? Like if you want to define, tell custom GPT that this is going to be my audience and for which I would be writing. So what tips can be you can share with us that we can let our custom GPT or persona know that this is the audience that for which I would like to recreate the content, so that it can target that specific audience.
So in terms of audience, you should be writing simple. If you are copywriting, your writing should be very simple, because everyone likes simple writing. Unless you are a liar and you have to like use these complicated words. But the language should be simple. And then when it comes to your target audience, so it depends. For example, if you want one GPT, to work for any kind of audience, you can ask the GPT to address each specific audience based on the prompt that you provide, that you ask in each chat from ChatGPT. For example, you can say that if I ask you to write for doctors, use a more medical language. If I ask you to write for example, for marketers, use more of a internet-based or social media-based language. So that's how you do. So it depends on your goal. So if you want one GPT for different kinds of audiences, you can focus more on each chat and specifying in each chat. Or if you just want one GPT to write for just one kind of audience, then you have to take care of your prompt in the back end of the GPT.
Yeah, I think my next question was actually, towards this as well, right? Because we can define multiple custom GPTs in Chat GPT, right? I assume that you can use one for writing just your LinkedIn post and another one for just tweets. And this is something that we also provided in ConnectGenie AI. We gave the option of defining multiple personas. I kept under consideration that maybe someone would like to use one persona for just commenting and one persona for just networking and another one for viral LinkedIn posts. So what what is your advice? Should we have one persona that does all of these things, or should we have just multiple personas for different things? What is your advice?
So it depends, for example, if you have a very big workflow, for example, you have a workflow and you are writing for so many brands. For example, you are one brand, but you're writing under different business pages, then you better have like different kinds of GPTs. But if you are just one person, for example, you're building your personal brand, so you have to like focus on just one kind of brand message. People remember what your thoughts, what your brand or what your perception is. and what kind of certain words you use, or what kind of writing yours is. So it mainly depends on the size or the demand of each person. For example, I get clients that I create these custom workflows for, and people and they differ. Like some people want like different kinds of custom GPTs. For example, in your case, uh, I will prefer on I'll focus on creating different GPTs for each different platform, writing for each different platform. For example, if you want a GPT to write different kinds of content in one context, it might be like problematic, like in terms of hallucination or something. But still, it depends on how you use your content. For example, the GPT that I created, my Ghostwriter GPT, so the content it generates is mainly like for LinkedIn, but you can also use that content for other social media platforms. So what it does is it generates a short LinkedIn post, not a long one. You can ask for a long one, of course, but mainly the default thing is the default content is for LinkedIn, how it creates. So you can edit that content. You can remove certain parts, or you can make it shorter. You can add more bullet points, and then you can make it for Twitter, for example. Or you can add some more sauce, like remove words, or like add the words that you usually use. For example, some funny slangs or anything, and then use it for LinkedIn. So it depends. And even me, I always tell like my audience, anyone, and I suggest anyone who's watching, who's listening to this, they have to like focus more on tweaking the output and editing the output. It doesn't take much. It's a safe path. Like it will save you a lot of time, a lot of quality in the future, in the long run. You have to like focus more on how to edit and how to tweak the output and how it is, and it will save you a lot.
Mhm. So, since you've got a lot of experience with this, like, what would be the one ultimate checklist that, you would recommend to, create your custom GPT so it can replicate your writing style exactly the way you want it? What would be the ultimate checklist for that?
So I apologize if I don't remember all of them, but I'll try my best. So if I wanna prompt a custom GPT, or for example, I just want to provide a prompt for ChatGPT to write something. So the things that I would keep in mind is first, provide some examples of my writing or anyone's writing. For example, I admire a big copywriter, for example. I like their writing. For example, let's say David Ogilvy. For example, I write. He is my favorite copywriter, and I like his writing. So, for example, I will provide his writing as an example, just to let ChatGPT use that kind of writing style. And then I would ask ChatGPT to use the reading level or the understanding level of a 10 years old child. I'll also ask for using words which are shorter and which are easily pronounced, words that are commonly used in our everyday language. I would also focus on less adverbs or no adverbs, because adverbs are kind of like hard, in terms of reading, and they're not a common thing in copywriting. I will also avoid jargon and harder language. For example, here in Canada, we use certain words that are not common in US, or that are not common in UK. And people in the UK, they use certain words which are not common here in America. So I would highly recommend to avoid that, and also try to focus on using words which are more of a lesser syllables. For example, 2 syllable words are better than 3 syllable words. 3 syllable words are better than 4 syllable words. 1 syllable is better than 2 syllable. If there's an easy synonym for a certain word, I will use an easy synonym, and I'll ask ChatGPT to do that, because ChatGPT has access to a lot of words like across the whole internet. You can just ask ChatGPT to go search for every word that you use and find the easier synonym and use it. which can be very easy, very fast, and much more efficient.
Got it. So basically, first of all, the inspiration that someone that you take from someone, give the example of the content that they have posted, and then the writing instructions, like you've gone quite deep into that. All of those, like use the particular jargons and not that sort of stuff, and like you mentioned about the syllables, and the I think that the last option that you have told us is that use the word that is more related to your audience and based on the geography, right? So in that case, that would be the case.
Of course, yeah.
So that's right. So you've also a guide for LinkedIn copywriters that you share with them, and so that they are able to work on their LinkedIn personal brand. So can you share some insights about that guide? What is it about?
Yeah, it's actually an outcome of what I tried to do after I burned out like multiple times, as I already mentioned. So after my burnout, I was like, I have to like have a solution, and there should be a solution. Like I cannot just leave LinkedIn because I burn out, which is not like quite an answer for that. So then I focused on using AI for making things easier. And as I was already using ChatGPT, I was impressed by most of the work that it was doing. I was testing, and I knew what I was doing in the process. And then custom GPTs, they came up. The custom GPT store was open for everyone, and that was a huge opportunity as well. And that was, I think, custom GPTs are one of the best products on the internet right now that anyone can access just for $20. So then I was like, yeah, let's go and just create a GPT and see what happens. At least it will save me time for my ideation or brainstorming, at least for my content. So then in the beginning, I just focused on a GPT that could brainstorm my content. And it was just private to me. I wasn't thinking of sharing anything. I wasn't thinking of, making it public. And then over time, I was developing it. I trained it more to like help me with ideation, and then everything, like give me a draft, and then like slowly like fixing the drafts and cutting the clutter, cluttering the content and cutting certain kinds of words, and I was so every time, and I would create anything, write anything with the GPT, and anything that I wouldn't like, I would just provide a feedback and change, some of the prompting, and say, hey, uh, remove this, don't use this, avoid this, and use this, avoid this, use this, and everything that I knew of prompting, I used there, and it was something very useful for me for some time. And then I made it public. I was like, yeah, it's helping me. Let's see like if it can help someone else. Quite good. Why not? It's a free thing. And at some point, custom GPTs, they using custom GPTs, they became free for anyone who was on a free subscription on ChatGPT. So then I made it public and I shared, and people were using it. And in the process, people were really liking it. And then, but there still was a need for it to, for the how of it, like how to use it. Like people were not familiar with using it. And then I created a kind of a user manual on how to create, how to use this custom GPT, which is called my ghostwriter, how to prompt it, how to better prompt it, how to ask for certain kinds of hooks, body, certain kinds of um, CTA, and what should the content focus on. For example, I can ask the GPT to write me a persuasive copy, or I can ask the GPT to write me a funny or sarcastic copy, and it will do it. So then I created this user manual, and yeah, the user manual has some other stuff which are like prompts, other tools that someone can use to grow on LinkedIn, and it's quite working. And I receive a lot of good positive feedback from a lot of freelancers, creators, and a lot of people, and they say that it's making their lives easier, their process very, very easier.
So, how does one, if someone does want to have access to that guide, how does he get the access to it? Does it have to purchase it, or do they have to email you, or what is the process
Uh,
like?
It's free 24/7. They don't even have to ask me anything. It's on my LinkedIn profile. They can just go and download it there, and it's free. I could sell it. I got a lot of messages from a lot of people. They were saying that you can just sell it and you can make money from this, and they were right actually. Even if you sell it, people will see it as more valuable compared to being free.
Yeah,
But I just wanted to offer it for free, like to help someone. Maybe someone like the main motive was to help someone. So
got
it's
it.
just free, nothing to charge for. It's just on my profile.
Right. So actually, this whole thing started because you got burnt out, right? And I think that there are a lot of copywriters who start their career and initially it initially becomes quite challenging, overwhelming, and then it's very difficult to remain consistent because you don't get the traction and you just give up at one point, right? So what advice would you give to these beginner copywriters, so that they can remain consistent?
Burnout may happen, may not happen, but even if it happens, it doesn't mean that it's the end and you're the only person. And there's nothing personal. For example, if someone is not growing on LinkedIn and they're not getting any likes or any views, there's nothing personal. Maybe there's something wrong with the content. Go grow your content. If it's still not working, go focus on connection. If it's still not working, focus on your comment style. Don't comment love this or I like this or good idea. Just go and write something funny, something more personal to someone that can make someone's day. And burnout happens, of course, for like almost every creator on LinkedIn. If you see, they have an experience with burnout, and that doesn't mean that it should be the end. It's just a part of the process. It's a very good motive for you to know what works and what doesn't, and what to improve on. For me, it was something that helped me to improve and find a solution. If it wasn't for the burnout, I don't know if I would have developed this custom GPT in this whole, the AI writer guide and everything. Maybe not, maybe yes, but it was one of the motives. So for anyone who faces burnout, they better find a solution which will be a good cause for their growth.
Understood. All right. I think these are all very valuable tips for all of the LinkedIn creators. So thank you so much for that, Sami. To be very honest, I'm going to also apply some of these tips in my content creation process as well. So before I wrap up, I'll be leaving Sami's details in the description of the video so that you guys can make sure to follow him and make sure to get that your hands on his site as long as it's free. And I think thank you so much, Sami, for taking the time to be on the show. I hope that you were able to enjoy the episode as well.
I appreciate it. I'm so happy that I talked to you today, and probably this is my first podcast, so I'm so happy. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. All right. Thank you, Sami, and thank you everyone for watching. I hope that you got some actionable advice for your LinkedIn copywriting career and how to make AI create content in your unique writing style with the help of custom GPTs, or if you're using ConnectGenie with our persona feature. So if you enjoyed the episode, make sure to give us a like and subscribe button. If there are any topics that are related to LinkedIn, personal branding, marketing that you'd like us to cover, let us know in the commenting section, and we will see you in the next episode. Thank you.